Too bad.
She had 3 kids. That's what's gonna take a day to get down
Oh, what's that?
there. Yeah, but then we back and stuff, the lumber stuff, and then the novel stuff, other lumber stuff.
Good morning, everyone. If I can have you all stand, we will know in silence, and maybe go ahead and get started the meeting.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the States of America.
Okay, first thing under public comment, is Chris Brown.
That's me.
Okay,
I came last year and just requested permission to use the grounds for the farmer's market on Saturdays and just looking to get permission on that again, so.
my only concern is it going to be set up kind of like what it was last year, because it kind of restricted, whether it's Girl Scouts, brownies, or some of these.
We invited most of the organizations.
Because at first, I think they were let out in the correct and some of these private.
Yeah, it was through the insurance.
We didn't turn anyone away,
Okay,
so.
that's fine. I just wanted to
We
make
actually
sure.
reached out and invited
Okay,
just about any civic group that we could. The only restrictions are that if they're selling something, they are required to have insurance based on the policy that we cover the market with. So it's not us requiring it, it's our actual policy that requires it,
okay.
and that's standard practice at most markets, so. Maybe never done here before, but Crawfordsville, Lafayette, look
I
around.
think
they all
last year,
require it.
probably the first year we kind of went that route, always before it was pretty
Right.
nice.
Yeah. And not being from here, I don't know what was, I just took a course at Purdue, for how to start farmers market. And that's all standard practice around
And
the
I
state and
understand that,
country,
yeah.
so.
So I think they had to resort to going across the street.
I'll make a motion to let Chris be the farmer at the end of this year.
I'll say, those in favor.
Aye. Thank you.
And feel free if you don't care to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Oh, yeah, no,
You're, okay, all right, I'll enjoy. Carol, out of you. You have something, or do you do it later?
I can go ahead and get it now.
Okay,
We were with the Covington Tree Board, we were really excited. We applied for a grant with the Community Foundation. And we were awarded a grant through them, plus we talked to the town's gonna chip in, and then we're gonna cover the additional. We were able to get funds to be able to finally do the project where we're gonna be able to replace some of the trees throughout town. We're gonna be able to add trees, plus we're gonna be able to bring a professional landscaper in to remulch and professionally do each of the trees in town. And also go back and trim some of the trees professionally throughout town too. The one thing we wanted to ask you all is when through the grants, so if you know expense to the county, we would add this into the grant. But out here where the tree right here on the corner, kind of right by the monument. When we have a professional crew in town, we wanted to get permission to have him go ahead and his crew come in and trim that tree around there. And trim it back professionally.
Absolutely.
Okay, and we want to get permission for that, but then the other thing we wanted to ask if it'd be okay, if we're gonna work with the school on this, and then the committee would also do this too. Is around each of the trees around the courthouse, we were talking to the landscaper. And he said one thing that with trees is if you get that mulch too close to the base, it can increase like insect damage and some other, and just kind of trunk damage. So we were wanting to come in and just kind of do some working in the mulch and kind of maybe cone it and get it back from that, but we wanted to get permission to kind of work on some of the trees around here and just kind of clean it up a little bit, just to make sure we keep the trees looking good here too, so those are the two things we wanted to ask you today.
Sounds great.
I don't have an
And
issue.
if they feel like they need to trim some other trees. How about it, Almy trim or not?
Okay. But we just wanted to run
Yeah,
through that, as you make sure we got that.
Definitely. Yeah, so great.
Okay,
We're doing it with Pro Green out of Crawford.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
okay,
great.
we'll add that on the list then, so, all right, thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, let's move on to approve the minutes. Our March 6th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the March 6th minutes.
Second, was in favor?
Aye.
Claims 1 through 168 in the amount of payroll claims.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Review and acknowledge the clerk's monthly report for February.
I'll make that motion.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Two, report of elections as submitted with the clerk, the health department, the recorder, sheriff for the month of February.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Two. Smart contractors, copy. Okay. This is for mowing, and the estimation is 26 mowings per year, depending, on the weather, obviously.
And it's the same this year as it was last year, even though they're under new ownership. If they don't get the yard, they don't do snow removal.
Right.
So, I'll make a motion to accept. March bid.
So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Do we want to do the 911 discussion now?
Might as well.
Do you want to
Okay.
take lead of what?
Yep. So when was our meeting with Warren County? Is that October, November of last year?
Yes, I'm the October, if I remember right.
Okay. So in fall of last year, Mountain County went up to Warren County. We had a 911 meeting with them. Referenced the structure of the current 911 contract. We had a meeting up there and, Warren County, we decided that they would do a new contract. Well, new contract, and I'll say also, we have a consultant, Barry Ritter, out of Richmond, Indiana. He is the prior state 911 director, second to none in the state of Indiana as far as 911. So he is watching all this with us and helping us out with it, so it's not the commissioners that don't know what they're doing. So we'll take that off the plate immediately. So, we've talked back and forth several times since then. Our last council commissioner meeting, the council agreed, we agreed, and there was a representative here from Warren County. I don't know whether he agreed or not, I don't know if he ever said, but we would do 50-50. Currently, Warren County pays a third of the expenses. But we would do 50-50 because without us, they've got to pay it the entire bill. They don't have to deal with the employees, we do. So that's a great bargain for Warren County. Warren County has decided not to take that. Well, Warren County, Brenda sent a email to them Thursday. They were going to meet the next day.
They're
They
meeting
would-
that day with their sheriff.
With that
their
day.
options.
Okay, of their options, we have heard nothing. We are tired of messing with this issue. Fountain County wanted, and again with the council's approval, 50-50, and an executive board, or with the current 911 board, which would make 95% of the decisions. The current board wouldn't want to mess with that. But when it came down to an executive decision on staffing, and somebody needs to make the difficult decision, it was going to come to the commissioners of Fountain County, because they are our employees. Warren County would not be involved in a federal wage and hour lawsuit. Fountain County would. So regardless of what Mr. Hart stated, well, we'd all be sued at the last meeting he attended. He is wrong. Warren County will not get a federal audit for 2 years. agent, people in here crawling through every department, just not 911. Every department if we get a federal audit. So, that being said, we sent them 300, actually, it was less than 50%. We said $325,000 a year, Warren County, 2 Fountain County commissioners on the executive board, 1 Warren County commissioner on the executive board. And we have heard nothing. So it's my motion today, oh, and also we received an email from Barry Ritter, our consultant, that the state, is this based on funding for the next year's,
I
the
think
TSAP?
that's how I took it from that.
Okay.
email.
This decision has to be made by the end of this month, whether we're staying with them or going on our own. It's on our funding for the next years. So I'll make a motion that we separate from Warren County and go on our own 911.
I just have a question. When you said, the Lakeland control from us to them, you said 2 or 4 or 5 days ago, or
Sent it last week, I
Thursday.
tell you today, but
I just want to know how much time they've taken to make this decision.
And they acknowledged they received the,
he acknowledged he received a letter from me. And I told him within that letter that I needed to know before this meeting this morning, so that we could act on it. I've heard nothing. All I heard was 2 things for us to keep in mind. We want 2/3 representation on the hiring board, 50% of the funds. That Warren County only, statistically has less than 1/3 of the calls. So they want to keep going with the ratio of calls and everything. Regardless, you have to man, that department, whether you're on.
two dispatchers of every shift, period. No matter if you've got 10 people in your county, you run a 911, you got 2 people in case one has a medical issue.
But then, what I didn't, we send a letter, half the equipment is theirs, obviously, because equipment is 50/50. No response. I've not received anything. I did send them another text. I said we wouldn't have issue with the operational board being 50/50. So then they could. The operation part of 911. We wanted more control of the executive part of it.
At the commissioner council meeting we had, they seemed, Mark seemed to be okay with that. He did. And they're meeting today, just like you guys.
Yeah.
They met
Let's
Friday.
see, they had a special meeting last week.
Was it Thursday or Friday?
Thursday, they were having a
Okay.
meeting. So did I send that on Wednesday? That's when I'll check. When I actually sent it. Because I texted him just to make sure, I sent it on the 15th.
And one other thing I want to say before I make my motion. 90 other Indiana counties do their own 911. There's a reason 90 other counties do their own 911. Period. I'll make a motion to,
I'd like to interject, if I could. I'm John Wolf, I'm the fire chief down at Wallace. All fire chiefs in Fountain and Warren County got together, about a week ago, to discuss this issue. We believe that if you split us up, you're gonna slow down response times. Because currently, one dispatcher can dispatch for the county. Where you split us up, our dispatcher is gonna have to work through all the traffic they're dealing with before they can contact Warren County. You'd have to sit down and listen to the amount of traffic that goes on when a structure fire is owned. In most cases, there's 2 and 3 departments being owned for a structure fire because no one department can manage it, especially during the day due to manpower restrictions. So this is going to greatly directly affect at least the northern departments. Why am I here? It's gonna affect me because I've got to have all my radios reprogrammed. I've got 25 radios.
Why you have to reprogram?
So I can talk to everybody. Occasionally, they put out an all surrounding departments to respond to instruction.
Okay.
There's a lot more to it.
It's,
Just the office part of it. Right. When it comes to the dispatch center, there's a lot of stuff that happens. And you really, really, really need to consider before you make that decision. And it's not just about power, I'm telling you. It's all about what happens to the community and how we can respond together.
Okay.
the general consensus.
There are 90 other counties that do this with no problem.
We've been doing it how long? And haven't had a problem. How long?
Probably 40 years.
There you go. Why change it?
The general consensus.
They never had problems, so.
The general consensus from the fire chiefs was, don't mess with it.
Yep.
Okay. Noted.
And if you think about it, fire departments, even though we're not represented on your 911 board, which we should be, we deal with the vast majority of the calls.
And my thing is, we've been discussing this since last fall, but yet this is the first that I've had anybody from the fire department speak up.
One issue, you have your meetings during the day, we all have jobs.
We had an evening at a joint meeting. with Warren
And
County.
and some of us rotate shifts.
Warren County.
I
We had
get it. I understand.
Fountain County, and Warren County both, but I mean, no one even got with any of us to express. Any.
Why didn't you guys contact the fire department?
But,
Well, we have had some from fire. department here.
Yeah, we, Tri-County Fire has a meeting once a month.
Well, I've had Garth in here, Greg's been in here, Joe's been in here,
and Greg's mentioned that it would be a
so,
disaster.
you know, it's been brought up.
I get it.
But it's not been brought up to that level of concern until now.
And I think the
And
reason
it's
we're
not.
bringing the concern, because you guys are. You're hoping to come to a decision and which you
Right.
after the last meeting, Tim.
We're trying.
We
to.
did not, we did everything we're willing to do.
And that's.
They're not,
You've given them a
Warren
proposal.
County's the bad.
You've given them a proposal. Thursday. Give them some.
They've had since October, November. We've started this and we've talked to them.
Clay and I have been talking, we've been shooting around the 275.
They're not taking it
I started
serious.
Clay and I said, our auditor's been working on figures, because I said, I'm not so sure we're sold on the 275,000.
Right.
So Clay and I both, and who he's communicating to, I don't know. I just know that I reached out to him, discussed that I don't think we're on board with that figure for a set flat fee.
Right. Yeah, and that was discussed at the joint meeting.
Yeah, and they have refused to acknowledge. And don't you think, hey, we're thinking about it still, given, you know, not even that.
Yeah, I would think something.
So
like
at this
that. I
point,
didn't know, I didn't see your agenda, so I didn't know.
at
I should have
this,
opened up.
yes, at this point, my motion is going to be to disband. If Warren County comes back and says, okay, we'll do 50-50, then we'll do it.
What's the fiscal impact upon County County if you have the separation from Warren County? How much are we gonna have to pay?
50-50, 300 and,
Almost 50,000.
yeah,
346.
346 something.
47.
But- We can also, we'll get more money from the state if we're on our own, because right now we get about 19,000 something a month. If we're on our own, we will
Warren
receive
County
more
gets
from the state of Indiana.
$9,000.
And then there is a PSAP tax that we have not utilized.
And just so everyone knows, on I think there's one of our cume funds that is at the max that it can be, that hasn't been a DLGF commented that they couldn't believe that Mountain County did not have some of their cume funds at the max, like a lot of the other counties. And I, you know, we're fortunate, you know, to be in that situation. Is that correct, Colleen? There's a Cume Bridge that's
New Bridge and
Cume County.
CCD.
Okay, so now that we do have two of them at the max.
But the problem is, we're at the point where if we don't tell Barry what's going on, he has no idea how to answer the state. And he's under a timeline, so my motion is to disband.
You wanna wait till Kent gets here to see if we contingent on, I mean, I don't know if Warren County was waiting until after their meeting to let us know, I don't know, but.
We told you were specific, you needed to know before the Fountain County meeting, you were very specific.
Who's gonna fit, who's gonna build a program on the radio?
Huh? I don't, how much money you talking?
It's been 3 or 4 years since I had any of my radios reprogrammed, but at the time it was $95 pop.
Oh, that's. Yeah, we had,
And that sounds like a little bit of money to you, but for my department, that's a chunk of change.
yeah,
It's gonna be for all departments, not just mine.
Well, and it was discussed too, that since we were moving 911 to the Maple Corner building, the council had thought about getting new equipment. Is that correct? But Barry didn't think that we really needed the new equipment. That may be brought to the table again. I don't know. What's council
Well,
think?
I think we're talking about replacing some of the oldest part. I want to ask you another question. Since we're having a meeting today, and Tim, you made that motion. If that's agreeable, still. They had that meeting today, and you said they decided it could change.
Yeah.
How would they know that? So let's say their meeting's over here in an hour. And you send out a message, did you do anything with this? You've already sent the message. They have not replied in any way.
no,
But on the kindness of your part, trying to get some type of information back, could you say, hey, you know, what you decided today? Have you had any discussion? If they haven't.
we've done that for 6 months.
You know, it's,
I understand, Tom, we've done that for 6 months.
I know.
And Tom, also, when the last few times that I reached out to Clay, I had to be very specific because I felt like we weren't talking about the same agreement. Because I would have to say, what agreement are you talking about? The one that the council, your council proposed, the 275,000? But then people will add to, you know, like the executive board, or else that wasn't on the table at the very beginning. So I want to be very clear with him what Warren County was agreeable to. And last time I knew it was the 275, and they wanted that other board.
So, and I've been in law enforcement, I understand radio systems and everything. So Williamsport has a fire. They're gonna call Williamsport, West Lebanon, Attica, Pine Village. So the Warren County dispatcher dispatches Warren County departments, Fountain County dispatches Attica. What's the issue?
The amount of traffic.
What if they're from different channels, there's no traffic? Or, I mean, it can come through Fountain County and it can come through Warren County. I mean, I know. I mean,
The initial dispatch rarely has enough information for any department. They're always asking for more. They're dealing with the people who are marking en route. The
you have
chief
two
may that they need more personnel and equipment coming than what was initially dispatched. So they're having to deal with that.
Well, it sounds to me like also you've got 4 dispatchers now instead of 2. Working on a fire. Because you got 2 at each station.
If you're, and then you said fire and Williamsport, okay? So your Warren County dispatcher is dispatching West Lebanon, Pine Village. Those departments are requesting more information. They're marking en route, not only equipment, but personnel. That keeps the dispatcher tied up until things slow down after a few minutes. And if the initiative, Williamsport asks for more equipment and personnel from other departments, then they gotta pick up the phone or switch channels to contact Mountain County to get their departments going.
And as far as your 911 call in, right now, people just across the river here in Covington, they dial 911, which are dispatch Trafford County. You change 2 different counties now, that person just across the river here, wanting the fire department, would have to call their 911 to go to Warren County, would then have to dispatch Trafford County for them to dispatch the fire. We don't have that problem now. You would if you change it. I mean,
There's some of my area down there that when somebody picks up the phone, calls 911, it rings in Park County. There's other parts that brings into Montgomery County. They've got to contact Mountain County.
Tim, if you got it, when it was seconded and everything, you got it on. And we said, okay. we'll call it.
Absolutely.
They would still, in agreement with you guys, ask for the executive board, would you be cool with that? Or-
Yeah, the 2 to 1 that we said, yes.
Yeah, that's what-
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
also-
we just want to warn, yes, everything that was discussed at the council, yes,
So
that's what we ordered.
also to add to that, Jeff, you know, it was discussed, I think Dudley was very concerned about that, as the commissioners were as well. We were wanting a clause within that agreement of any lasers, because we bill them for health insurance.
That's a high risk, that's a $250,000
What was it again?
laser,
Like laser.
somebody with cancer.
So someone that works at that department, you know, we've been paying for in the past, but we wanted that clause in there, and that's where I think Kent was gonna get involved and have to, you know, put something in there. And Warren County is well aware of that concern, you know, on our end, because it affects our premiums. So, you know, that's some of the other things that we're thinking of, you know, I understand what he's talking about the calls and everything and the added, but we also have to think about our premiums are going up if we have a high lasers. You know, it's Fountain County that has to pay the additional. And so we're thinking about that.
And one other point before I make my motion, for the end of it.
Okay.
Carol Owens was at that meeting in Warren County that day. After the meeting, she came up to the president, well, you might not have been president, Clay Andrews, and said, well, why don't you guys just take the 911, we'll pay you. Oh, no. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. Exactly.
There's a lot to do.
So,
And as a former auditor, I'm well aware of the billing that is involved, and we're just trying to make a little simpler on Colleen, current auditor, and future auditors, so that they're not having to do additional work. You know, you guys talk about your additional calls, this is every day, you know, the
Yeah.
additional work, so.
and I will make a stipulation when I say I'll agree with the 50%, Jeff. I said I will make a stipulation on the agreement. It has to be within the next When does Barry need to know? By
the end of
the
this month.
end of this month, so
And so this was already.
it's gotta be by the end of this week. We're tired of going around the bush with this. So our 911 guy, and he doesn't. I mean, he understands this, obviously, like I said, I don't understand all for sure, but he does. I don't think he's seeing a big problem doing it. And he does this all over the state of Indiana, so. And has told us several times, we are the only one in the state of Indiana to do this. So,
So Kent, the issue is right now, Warren County is having a meeting today. We don't know if they're acting on the proposal letter that was sent last Wednesday on the 15th. They met the 16th with their sheriff to see what their options were. I have not heard back from them,
Rusty Hart was at this meeting, he should have taken back that day
and he did.
what the proposal was.
He did play, like I
Okay.
said. But I don't think we were on board with the 275. That's when when I sent the letter, we asked for 325 and then the 2/3, 1/3 executive board. And I think I sent that to you, Ken.
Yeah.
For your review. So Tim has made a motion. Does he need to make that motion contingent on if Warren County would agree to what we proposed to them? Otherwise, Barry needs to know by the end of this month, how to proceed, for funding, future funding. Because if we're on our own, he needs to know by the end of the month.
Friday is the 24th, so a motion will be, we'll have to receive word from Warren County by the 20th.
Is that okay? Yes, Carol?
Did you let Warren County know when you needed this? On?
Yeah, in my letter, bottom of the letter, I need an answer from you before Monday, March.
But you said the end of the month.
Well, the end of the month. Clay he did receive that letter from Barry regarding if we're gonna be on our own or not, whether he looked at that email. I have no idea. It was sent to all three of us and it was sent to Clay by Mr. Ritter.
I have a concern, and maybe premature. On the billing, we're not gonna separate
No,
No,
so is
it'll
it
be
gonna
January,
continue?
if it does, it'll be January 1 of 2024 when they need to
So
be up and running.
it will be kind of.
And they knew this back in
This is
December.
more.
I know. They knew this back in December. Mr. Hart stood here and said, oh, we need a year, 2 years to get, no. Per our consultant, you can get 911 up and running a lot quicker than 2 years, so they just have to get on the ball, and every day they put off, it's a day that they're gonna be more behind the eight ball. If they don't, I don't know why, I don't know why they wouldn't take this agreement. It's either 50% or 100%. It just boggles my mind that they want to fight over this. But that's not my problem. So,
I have a question. Thursday, Monday, in particular, I thought it was about 250,000 for the Fountain County, could make about 100,000 for the Warren County. If we separate, will the state pick up the majority of that difference? And is that dependent upon the comprehensive plan? Or we can get more funding for something like this?
Okay, so according to the email from Barry, and you have that. If we're on our own, then the funds will probably be increased.
probably.
The RFP for the statewide 911 network. And it delivers the 911 calls to all PSAPs and provides for the redundant backup systems in use. The future of Fountain Warren PSAP has to be decided by the end of this month to ensure that any additional network services required by the board should be included in their VAFO with vendors. So a separation will add cost to the board's contract. And then he goes on about the network and what it consists of and all the connections, blah, blah, blah. So right now, we get 19,450 and Warren County gets 9,000. So whether those fees are increased, or I really don't know at this time, because I think their board has to discuss things regarding that. So that's well over my head.
So,
I have thoughts.
yeah,
Lit. Local income tax. We collect on that for public safety. I mean, there's some other things that you can collect on. PSAP is one of them that Fountain County has never entertained going after. It was suggested that we go after that. I know there's some funds in there that would help the ambulance department with a PSAP. And so we have kind of, well, I've entertained looking into it, whether the old council, new council has looked at that. I don't know. We have, Tom, have you ever looked into the PSAP and what it offers? And okay. I know I've shared it with some of the new council of possibly doing, what was the other PSAP? So that one. If you don't have it. Okay, because I know there was one for the 911, but there was also, I don't know if it's combined, you know, for the ambulance too, but I'm hearing that, you know, the PSAP funds could be helpful to the ambulance department. Yes, that's probably what I'm thinking of. So EMS could benefit, you know, but council's gonna have to look into that.
Because Brenda, I understood on that piece that just kind of headed you a little bit, that we weren't able to use that. We couldn't connect that with public safety.
Well, public safety is on its own.
Yeah.
The PSAP would be on its own fund as well. And so I don't know if that's where it gets shared by cities and towns and schools, because some of those funds, it gets townships.
And see what's all this. I haven't used that.
I don't know if you've seen that spreadsheet, you know, Colleen gets a distribution every month and she receives it into the funds.
I didn't
Cities
do
and
that.
towns, they get so much money. So if you get on DLGS website and you can get a report and see what that breakdown is. Those reports are available to anybody. You know, if you want to see what kind of money is coming into Fountain County and what's been dispersed, because in the past, I've always had chief of police coming in with a concern that their mayors aren't budgeting for a new vehicle for them. And they say there's no money. It's just that their council, they're not budgeting for them to get a new car every year. Because they have a tag for something else. So if Fountain County goes after it, the other towns, cities, schools, benefit.
Can I ask one more question? Is legalities, they don't want any part of the legal aspect. Is that right?
Well, they're not responding. I mean, so I don't know if they are agreeing to our terms. I mean, they are for the 275, but we wanted 325 basically. With a clause about the laser, the health insurance, and then that board. And I did respond back. We didn't have an issue with the operational board being changed to 50-50. You know, they have like one of their commissioners on that board and one of our commissioners on that board. In my opinion, that's operational. I don't deal with the radio dispatch on a regular basis, and I feel like it should be operational, should be meant for those that actually deal with it. That's just my opinion.
So we did ask today to respond to Warren County, or is it up to them?
Well, I feel like it's up- I don't feel like it's up to them to respond to my proposal, my counter proposal. And they have not.
Yeah.
They met. He could have told me the next day, hey, this is what we're thinking. Nothing. So I don't know if they think that that email was not a legal proposal. I don't know, what thoughts?
It's just, it's a negotiation. I mean, it depends on how they, it's probably not something to discuss in open meeting, but, you know, there's a lot of offer and acceptance. But the commissioner boards can't operate outside of a public meeting as an entity with by vote. So it would be hard to say that any of those communications are ever accepted until you you would take formal action in an open meeting. But specific answer to your question is, I've been involved in that, it's just negotiating.
So there would not be a problem with us family and motion to separate based on the fact that they did not respond. They have not responded to us, but do we do that or contingent on if they notify us before the end of the month so that we can work?
The 24th.
Oh, 24th, I'm sorry, the 24th.
Yeah, and I think we should, I don't recall the terms of the current agreement off the top of my head, but I don't believe it has a notice provision, or I don't think it had termination clauses, but any motion to be subject to the terms of the current agreement.
Yes.
And
Okay, so. That being said, my motion is to terminate the current bi-county agreement on the conditions that Fountain County has that right. And I think Kent is correct when he says there is nothing spelled out of the current contract on termination. And that we will give Warren County till the 24th of this month to come to the table 50-50 with what our council, what we said that day, those specific terms. And at that point, after the 24th, upon the attorney's review, the contract is terminated and Fountain County takes over the executive, the board immediately, which is what would happen with the contract broken. I will provide services until the end of the year. But we start operating under a new board the day it's terminated. A Fountain County board.
So you made that motion.
That's it, as long as it is. That's
As legal
bad,
as it is.
sad as it is. That's a motion.
Right. I will second that motion. And so I guess all those in favor? Aye. So we'll wait to hear from Warren County to see, what they want to do, if they're opting in or opting out.
Brenda,
Yes.
I recommend you try to contact Clay directly before you make too much of a decision. He's saying he didn't get an email from him.
Well, his text said otherwise.
Well, I mean, I have been in communication with him. He doesn't get that. So if he would, just reach out to him after the meeting. That way.
Well, I thought the attorney was sent at the beginning.
Well, it's not an actual contract, it's we're negotiating.
Yeah.
Well, I texted him and said I emailed him, I want to make sure that he got it.
That's what you like, so just reach out.
Okay.
We can move on.
Because I used the email that
Yeah,
I said, did you receive the email that I sent you yesterday about 911? Yes. He said, yes, he received it. Meeting with other commissioners and sheriff this afternoon to discuss our options.
Greg, we have beat this ambient. I'm telling you, I to you, you know me.
yeah,
I'm more active.
I understand, but at the same time.
I get it. I do.
Okay,
I'm saying.
I'm just saying, said yes. So I took it that.
That's what I just asked, just reach out and not text, the phone, but say.
Well, I emailed and then I text.
Okay.
And I said, okay, thanks. After he let me know, so he did receive it according to.
Yes, and if we do all we can do, then that's all.
Okay, all right. So is that, are we done with that?
Yes.
Move on. Okay, ambulance not here, is sheriff back there?
No.
Okay. Jason, I guess you're. Yes.
Before we get to this real quick, on the sheriff, since he's not here. We're starting with the design on the screen for the jail,
Oh, okay,
and we found out very quickly that where the sheriff wants the building. We can't get there, we can get there by gravity, but we can't get there from that building to the manhole back on gravity.
okay,
Our option is to put the building in his front yard, which he doesn't, he wants nothing to do with that, because I think it just blocks entrances and all that.
all right,
That means we have to put a small lift station next to that building to pump back into the manhole. Well,
that's great news, Roger.
I can give you technical options and, you know. So our option right now is we put the building to the side where the sheriff wants it, it's out of his way. And we have a small lift station to pump back into the manhole. Or we put the building in his front yard and we can run by gravity. He was, when I spoke to him, he was very clear about not wanting that building in his front yard. It's a sewage treatment plant in his front yard. So if you guys are okay with that, at least from a technical perspective, for us to keep moving forward, is we're gonna do the design on the side and have a look.
That'd be kind of hard to view it by that,
Okay,
yeah.
just wanna put it out there so you guys are aware.
Yep, that's fine.
Thank you, Roger. Okay, you're up.
Sorry, it's not your fault.
For our auction on the first, we are going through and getting the titles for the vehicles that we're selling. Would either one of you want to sign those, or how would you like to do that?
Either of us can.
Okay, we are missing two, I believe. Susan, have you looked at them? Okay, we've got two dump trucks that we can't find a title for, either over our office or here. So just wondering, we need to apply for a new title. Both of those.
We ever made copies, at one time I used to make copies, there's a copies in there, but I didn't. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Colleen can look, see if she has a copy of it.
Do you need us at the auction to sign them the day the auctions are sold?
I don't know if that would be the best way to do that, or how.
So we would, if we sign it, if we sign them
Yeah,
and nobody buys it.
right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Keep them there to the day of the auction. That's okay.
yeah, and one of us will be at the auction to sign.
or would you say the date of the auction is?
April 1st
At what time?
at 10.
Okay.
You're not lying, are you?
No, no, it's just. We were awarded our federal funding for bridge number 66, which is the bridge next to the shop, for $1,956,000. That's for fiscal year 2028. So, just like to start budgeting for a portion of that. That's being taken care of. I spoke with Katie with USI last Wednesday about getting a bid package together so we can send out proposals for bids on our bridge, number 54 at Scottsdale Road. So we're looking forward to moving on that.
Awesome.
And we had Roger come out and take a look at a structure for us on Xavier Road that is pretty worthy of getting some repairs done to it. We spoke with Tim Taylor from TNT Concrete up there. He's going to come and do a little patch for us and ourselves we're going to take care of the road part of it. So his cost is gonna be about $12,500 to do that. We have a couple other structures that we need to take a look at, it's just funding right now, but I really need to get something done. So once we get the bridge proposals in, I can see where we stand with my take care of those, but I was gonna ask Roger if he had time today to run up the tow path, take a look at that, and we just spoke about that. We could do that last week, so we stopped, we could at least get a game plan together, maybe.
The work we discussed on Xavier Road, undercutting it, retouring the concrete, all that is for $12,000.
Yes,
That's the deal.
yeah. And he sent me the estimate, and then whatever our portion is gonna be for patching the road back and doing it.
Part of the bridge has fallen into two. One small part of it. He's gonna come in and dowel the existing bridge, reform it, fortify it, tie it into the wing walls. And then he's gonna come in and repack the asphalt. That's pretty good.
It'd be just north of 860. Yeah. We put a big pipe in last year and paved over it. It's between there and we got Harrison Park up there. So some very narrow structures, and there's a lot of traffic on that road, one of the bad lanes. It is, yeah. And
Yeah,
the
that's not.
Holland Drain and everything, so, yeah. For almost, yeah.
This is an immediate necessary fix, but that bridge is not gonna go away. You guys are gonna hear about it in the future. It needs some repairs on the wing walls. Nothing critical right now. And Jason will still budget for that in the future for more on that.
It's not a bridge, it's very.
Big box culvert,
Yeah.
Okay.
huge box culvert.
So, yeah, we have a couple other contract structures that we're looking to get some boards replaced and things like that. So, and just I don't know if anyone has been notified other than myself, but NDOT will be doing some projects on State Road 32, on 234 and 341 in Fountain County. I spoke with our representative from the state at NDOT about unofficial local detours to see if they can possibly help with any damage that takes place or getting the gravel, maybe put some dust control on those. So I'm still working on that. But it's going to be over close to Sugar Mill Lake on 32, and then on 234, it'll be down Lodi, Silverwood area, and 341, it'll be between 800 and 900 south. So just giving you guys a heads up, start getting calls.
Jason, I received a couple of emails on these projects just to make sure that any culvert replacement was not within legal range and they're all clear. So from Severus.
Okay, all right.
Have you been given dates on those?
On these 32 projects, those are, I believe, starting in April, and the road closures for 30 to 60 days, I believe. We're on 234 and 341, I have not been, well, on 341, it should be April to October, I believe. But the road closures should only be for like 30 to 60 days, not the whole time.
Well,
Right, yeah, yeah. So, you give me your email and forward stuff on to you.
Jason, when are you gonna pull the trigger on Xavier Road? Because they're gonna be worked over on that.
But there is,
Such a small lane.
there is, I'm gonna help them probably this week and see when we can get it scheduled in, and we can get going on it. So,
If, I don't know when the schools are out, we can do it during spring break. So it doesn't impact the buses, that'll be great.
and spring breaks this week.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
People like,
we have a month and a half before school's out probably. So,
Keep that in mind.
yeah.
I know you mentioned the bus route there.
Yeah. So I was gonna help Andrews and see this with that. This is a copy for. You guys need a reward letter, I can email to you as well.
I think I got that email on their list.
Okay.
I don't have anything. Tim, did you have anything else for this?
Thank you.
I will download the 800 file and I will talk to you. And I will, in the appropriations and make them up.
Okay,
So instead of giving those two truck title, in numbers or something, or some kind of description of it, one of them file.
Thank you, Mason.
thanks.
Anybody
Thanks.
here from the health department?
Yes, James.
Good morning.
Good morning. Our vaccine refrigerator is still out. We are on week 3. They've come to repair it once. They couldn't find out what was wrong with it, so they're coming back this week. I think our warranty is probably up next month. So there's some concerns, so we'll see what we do. At some point, what's that? I thought he was waiting. Wait. At some point, if we could get together and probably discuss our options for our space at Maple
That's what I
Corner.
was thinking about.
Yeah, yeah, so I know Brandon,
Ignore you.
oh, no, that
I
was,
had a very busy weekend.
yeah, no, that,
And as far as Maple Corner itself, I think those plans are absolutely set. I think we can help you out in the parking lot with a nice.
that was, I know Brandon and I spoke at one time, maybe
Yeah.
building on.
Yep.
For the storage space,
But it's separate.
okay.
Yeah, we had
but-
talked about, you know, a separate unit, just so for
Okay.
kids of getting stuff that was hard to maneuver around,
Right,
that easy, so you don't break your back.
yeah, because we do
Yeah,
have
we
some
would like to
equipment,
come up and see everything that needs to go in that pipe.
right,
Yeah,
Okay.
I know you did show us.
But right now,
Show
we
video
just need to get Maple Corner.
Yeah.
the only other option thing is, if we do plan on the GPHC, we have no room, because we're gonna be at max capacity.
We got extra room, we got extra,
Well,
We have no,
extra places in the building.
there's like two rooms that are not really spoken for on the lower level, one right outside the peacock room, and then
The big, that's one, if we get the big room on the left.
Okay.
It's a.
So then that- our department would then be split. If we utilize it that way.
unless we utilize that, on the south wall of the peacock room, if that's IT, and then you would just be up that hallway a little bit. There could be a couple offices there.
What position is,
If we do buy into the GPHC,
yeah,
we will need more staff.
Okay,
And currently, the way it sits, all offices, personnel offices are smaller than our smallest office now. So we are,
Right.
when we move in, we'll be. So,
well, we can always use that. Room that we really don't have a use for at this point, that long narrow one for office,
how can we support it?
we do.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
but I do, if you plan on separating, and I do have concerns with this, our department being separated, because of, we have some of our personnel in different parts of the building, because we do work together a lot in our building, all of our personnel, as far as communication. So, but yeah, I mean, if we're building and then with this GPHC, it's something to really think about. That's gonna be an issue. The Governor's Public Health Commission.
Okay.
Just let me know if you know.
Oh, I'm saying.
Yeah, we got. Give you some updates on some grants and, we're applying for a upgrade for the camera system here in the courthouse. So that one grant that we're doing, our EMPG reimbursement for this year has been completed. And we should be getting our funds from that here shortly, here within another month or two anyway. And another grant that we're going to try to go for is cybersecurity. You want to get with gather and see what we need, and hopefully we can have them out on, especially moving up there, so we can connect everything together, so let's do that.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Okay. So this way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Susan, did you have anything for the treasurer? Okay. Greg, you're up for Nineville.
I'll just give you an update, we're moving along, we've got a lot, found a lot of concrete, there is a lot of dirt too, of course, and it's a muddy mess right now. But, the landfill itself has really withstood the water that we've received lately, which we're real happy with. I mean, nothing's washed out, the grass is still coming up, so we're happy with that. But we're just, we've got some lower areas which we knew we would have that would need to be filled, nothing big. I mean, everything's moving along, so awesome.
Yes, Roger. You wave that.
The McDonald's drain, and it's not a drainage board, but it's such a small thing to just run through. But the McDonald's drain is in need of maintenance. We had already established that. I got a quote for $26,250 to dip the entire open ditch part of the drain and reconstruct the ditch in the wetlands. I have approved from DNR and item to work on those wetlands. They're conditional on anything that is removed out of the wetland has to go away. And go away means it gets hauled off or spread in the fields. The bid that came in for $26,250 was from Daryl Bell. He is, he knows the farmer next door. He had some communication with him, and the farmer is more than happy to take the rich soil that comes out of the wetlands on his field, so.
I'll take it too.
Yeah. Colleen had sent me the numbers for the legal drains. There is approximately over $30,000 in maintenance funds in the McDonald drain. So we can cover that cost from the drain itself. So if I have your permission, and tell me what I need to do, I have the proposal, I can sign it and award it to Daryl to start the work. Or if we need to go another route, please share with me so that we know how to proceed with this. I think Mr. McDonald's been itching for the last 2 years to get this done.
Yeah, I'm afraid we have to go through a formal bid process. But if there's enough to cover that, I will determine that. I don't think we can just award it. We did the estimate to see what if it would fit within that. So then I think the next step is an exception to it.
Okay, so I received one bid, so you want me to put it out for 2 or 3 more, just get competitive bids on it?
Yeah, I'll tell you the exact process.
Okay, perfect. One other thing is the sewer project and Daryl's kind of, Hillsborough. I'm also getting a bid today. It's gonna be well under their budget.
Awesome.
Their original budget, I think, was $530,000, but the bids came in at $600,000+. I think this one will come in the high 300s, low 400s. Again, I think because of the dollar amount, I think we need to be competitive with that. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and they did the last time, and
Well, so my question.
one or two people only won the bid.
Yeah, and my question is, can we use the previous bids as part of this package, or do we have to rebid it and we send it to them, let them rebid it again?
I would say we can rebid it.
Okay. So I have I have 3 bids, I'll send it back out. So when you send me that email today, I'll just follow the process for what we're on.
That's awesome news about Hillsborough too.
That's all I got. Sorry.
Fine. Just like it. Maybe have anything else?
No.
You have anything else for us?
Can I ask you a couple
Sure.
things? First thing is,
Walt will be next.
I want to make one comment. That 911 been a major problem. We had problems that week, we had talked a lot of times when I was here. And at one time, Montgomery County wanted us to pull away from Warren, who was there. Was gonna save us a lot of money. But we got to think about people crossing the river from the school, crossing the river, working together, kind of like a big community here. We felt like it wasn't broken, we're going to fix it. Maybe things may have changed a lot now. That's the reason I didn't make any comments. Being a former commissioner, I didn't want to influence you people, so I just sat here and listened. I just want to make this comment.
Well, I appreciate your comments and everything, and, you know, it's not like those, we haven't thought about those things. Because we have. And it's been tough, I won't lie. Thank you all. Sorry, Jeff. Proceed.
I did a kind of a phone call, and I got a chance to walk through the offices and I was very gracious to do that with me. First thing I saw and you addressed it was the room that they had to have for some of their equipment. And sounds like you're going to address that a little bit. But my point of telling you that is they have I have no clue what they did. And now it's a big job. And some of us are trying to get around to the other departments too, so just wanted to know that.
Well, I appreciate that because, I haven't been to all the departments, but some of them that I have been to, I had no idea, you know, some of the duties that they had. You assume that it's so simple when they don't have a lot sitting around, you know, but not the case.
A lot of things. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to ask you about, did you get any response from anybody on the Ivory email you sent us?
What?
The Ivory, what I want to say.
School board day.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, about childcare?
Yeah.
No, and I did sign that contract, and I did get confirmation. I reached out to, Ryan Sowers, and of course, past week or so has not been for Covington.
Yes.
He apologized for not working. I told him that I was meeting him and Attica School to hurry up and get their proposals together. Because Ready is needing that information so that they can post it, you know, upload that information. We're going to proceed. Now, I will tell you, Tippecanoe County, they're using ARPA funds as their match for the child care. Whether the council wants to do that, I'm just throwing it out there. You know,
That's what my thoughts were as well. As far as funding.
yeah, 23,000 something for 3 years. So hopefully, you know, whatever they come up with, you know, it's gonna go through the Ready and through their process of being approved, and I'm sure they're gonna make sure it qualifies. And at that point, then, you know, maybe they can make those proposals, the presentations to the council and the commissioners, so that we know that, you know, what we're getting and we're gonna offer.
Is that the next meeting, Brenda, we're gonna have a council meeting, are we coming in that day, or?
I haven't heard anything from, so I
I know
can't.
we missed this school, so.
I don't know how far, but I encourage them that they need to get their stuff together. It's losing time. And we need to know, you know, when we're gonna commit, I need them to do their part. Anything else? No, that was it.
Not for me.
Carol?
So Greg needs that dirt for the land.
Right, but I can always use rich soil like that, but it's the expense, yes. But it's the expense that the contractor, when they bid it out, the less distance they have to haul it. So if there's a farmer right there, take it, and that'll probably work out better as a county.
Everybody's fields are fluid, take the bucks, throw it in their fields, that's it.
That's what.
Kind of like a.
But yeah, and Roger knows that, so does the county. So anytime they get some rich dirt, we can always use it.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
If we don't end up putting it in the field.
Here it is.
That's-